welcome to the workshop number 3, where we're going to be asking ourselves what's next, and we're going to look at how I launched my campaign and how I kept my project alive and how you can do something similar with your project. So I launched my project by having an exhibition in a pub. I wanted to exhibit in a pub because I liked the opportunity that a pub offered of people grabbing a drink and sitting and staying around, because it meant that people lingered around in the exhibition and had more of an experience and got together and discussed the topics that we was trying to address, rather than just come in, walking around and going again. It's really important that you think creatively when launching your work, and one of the things I did was I exhibited with a clothing rail. So I hung fabric prints onto coat hangers and people had to move through the images like they would as if they were in a shop searching for clothes, which linked back to me always questioning myself and linked to my initial research, which I felt was quite important. So you need to constantly ask yourself, like, why am I launching this campaign? Why am I doing this? Why is it important that I constantly create these small gestures towards my final goal? I printed 4 images on big floor-to-ceiling prints which showed the never-ending fast fashion cycle and the enormity of the problem that we were doing, but I exhibited most of my images on fabric. So this is a few examples. This is Rosie. I mean, because of the way the light's shining, it looks quite faint, but this is Rosie printed on a man's t-shirt, on a man's shirt, and you can see that that's quite like a checkered pattern. This one was Elizabeth, and that was printed on a bed sheet. Sorry, these are a bit creased because they've been folded up. This was one of my favourites because of the scarf that it was printed on. This was printed on like a vintage BHS scarf, and I made sure to like leave all of the tags on. It really showed like the initial stages of fast fashion, and I sourced all of my materials from second-hand shops. So I tried to go into charity shops and ask them, like, do you have any materials that you can't sell that would get thrown away, so then I could print on them and save them from going to landfill. I do question whether I did my project justice by printing on materials, because I sometimes think the images lost their quality by being printed on material. You can't see the true beauty of them, and that's normal. It's completely normal to question that decision. But I think inevitably the fact, when am I going to have the opportunity other than when I exhibit to print my work on textiles and people see it in that capacity? So I think that was quite an important decision I made, because when you look at my work online, you can see the true beauty of it through a screen, or you can see it in my zine on print. So it was an alternative that I would never have the opportunity to do again. Using these similar techniques, you can learn to like exhibit through live streams. Like, people have got the time now to be watching live streams and tuning into stuff like that. So like, why don't we as the creative community make use of it, and we can get a good audience for our work, and we need to flip it on its head and like look at the benefits. So after I'd exhibited, my aim was to use this as my portfolio. So I wanted to make sure my portfolio was concise and interesting, and I wanted a good knowledge about why I was producing that kind of work. And I needed it to link to my style, which is portrait, a bit of documentary portrait, a bit of fashion portrait, like all mixed together, like constantly telling that kind of story. And the fact that it was all on location, because I would say that I'm a long location photographer. And then giving my project longevity was with White Rose stores, like having my images still in the market square, which you can go and check out. Like, people are always seeing that work, so I know for a fact that the reason why I did this project was to create awareness and raise a positive message around secondhand fashion, and I know right now that my images are out there doing that, so I know that all of the work that I put in was worth it. And so in White Rose, they're printed on paper. People can go and see that. They're not printed on fabric. So I've had that like opposing exhibition styles, which I think's really worked quite well. You can do stuff similar. You can reach out to shops. You can do things like that. And you can also keep your project alive by entering competitions such as the Young Creative Awards, because they give you the grounding. They gave me the confidence to carry on with my project. When I entered and then was awarded with the photography category for the 19 to 24 last year, I was in the midst of my project. It gave me the confidence and the boost I needed to like keep pushing on. It will be the same for you. And there's competitions such as like Portrait of Britain, which is great to enter for portrait photographers. and things like that. Just shop around, there's loads of things you can enter, and submit to magazines. You never know whether you're going to get in or not, and it's always worth trying. Most of these things are free to enter, so like, why not try and get that exposure for your work? And there's lots that you can do after to form your portfolio. You just need to learn about your sequencing and things like that. And also, if you've got any questions about anything that I spoke about in the last 3 videos and like how I went about it, like, message me on Instagram. My Instagram is jesspearson_14. So just let me know if there's anything I can do to help, and I will see if I can answer. But anyway, thank you for watching my workshops. I hope they've been as useful to you as they have been to me creating them. And it was great to virtually meet you all.